Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I would like to start off this session by inviting Sabzada Hamad Mustafa Al-Qadri to do recitation of Al-Quran.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والضحى والليل إذا سجى ما ودعك ربك وما قلى والضحى والليل إذا سجى ما ودعك ربك وما قلى وللآخرة خير لك من الأولى
الله ما شاء الله
ولسوف يعطيك ربك فترضى
الله
ألم يجدك يتيما فآوى ووجدك ضالا فهدى ووجدك عائلا فأغنى فأما اليتيم فلا تقهر وأما السائل فلا تنهر وأما بنعمة ربك فحدث صدق الله العظيم.
طلع البدر علينا من ثنيات الوداع وجب الشكر علينا فدعا لله داعيا نبي سلام عليك يا رسول سلام عليك يا حبيب سلام عليك صلوات الله عليك يا حبيبي يا محمد يا طبيبي يا ممجد يا حبيبي يا محمد يا عروس الخافقين ومؤيد وممجد وضياء كل عين يا نبي سلام عليك يا رسول سلام عليك يا حبيب سلام عليك صلوات الله عليك يا أيها النبي والكوكب الدري يا أيها النبي والكوكب الدري أنت إمام الحاضرة سلطانها الغيبي لك اللواء والسؤدد والشرف المؤيد وأنت يا محمد ضمن الضريح حي يا أيها النبي والكوكب الدري أنت إمام الحاضرة سلطانها الغيبي جزاك الله عنا الخير ثم الجنة. ما منشد تغنى يا أيها النبي الحمد لله والشكر لله. أزكى صلاتي وسلامي لرسول الله. أزكى صلاتي وسلامي لرسول الله.
باللہ من الشیطان الرجیم بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم ان السمع والبصر والفؤاد كل ذلك كان عنه مسؤولا. وقال اللہ تبارک و تعالی ان النفس لامارۃ بالسوء الا ما رحم ربی. وقال اللہ تبارک و تعالی لا اقسم بالنفس اللوامہ. قال اللہ تبارک و تعالی ونفس وما سواها وقال عز وجل فألهمها فجورها وتقواها وقال عز وجل قد أفلح من زكاها وقد خاب من دساها. وقال عز وجل يا أيتها النفس المطمئنة ارجعي إلى ربك راضية مرضية فادخلي في عبادي وادخلي جنتي. وقال عز وجل يسألونك عن الروح قل الروح من امر ربی. وقال عز وجل ويعلم السر وما اخفى. وقال في مقام آخر انی خالق بشرا من صلصال من حمأ مسنون. وقال فإذا سويته ونفخت فيه من روحي فقعوا له ساجدين. صدق اللہ مولانا العظیم. Respected shuyukh of ilm and all of my brothers and sisters, we are going to have a dars of Masnavi of Maulana Rooh radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. You know, I said radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, I uttered these words with Maulana Rooh, whereas he is not a companion, he is a saint, one of the great Sufis and great saints of Ummah. And when we say radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, you should keep in your mind that there is an ijma of ulama and fuqaha and muhaddiseen and a'imma, ijma. There is no dispute among ahlul ilm that radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, these words, that Almighty Allah may be pleased with him, these words are allowed to be used for all blessed and pious people in the Ummah of Holy Prophet till the Day of Judgment. It is not just specified for the companions. There was no dispute on this subject among the scholars. But unfortunately, in our days, because of lack of knowledge, lack of proper comprehension, and lack of proper understanding, some people, because of their ignorance, lack of knowledge, they just create some difference of opinion on this issue for nothing. And this view is based on the text of Holy Quran, whereby Almighty Allah says, radiyallahu anhum wa radu anhu. And this is applied for all mu'mineen up to the Day of Judgment. So we are going to have a dars of Masnavi today. And I have recited some selected verses of Holy Quran in respect of the subject which I keep in my mind that we would be discussing in our dars. I would like to give some preliminary and introductory talk on the subject before we start with the dars of Masnavi, so that whatever we are going to discuss in Maulana Rumi's language, let us understand the basics and fundamentals of those mystic philosophies and mystic teachings, Sufi teachings, and those Sufi messages which Maulana Rum has given to us through his Masnavi. I will start from his first volume from beginning, but selected verses. So before we start with the dars or with his text, I prefer to explain certain basic and fundamental realities which will be dealt with the dars. And I start my talk with tawfiq of Almighty Allah from the verses which I have recited. When Almighty Allah decided to start the human history on this earth, on this planet, and He wanted to build a city of human body, city known as human body, because there are many inhabitants who are living in this city of human body. Human body is a city. Like other cities on this world, there are thousands and millions of people living in that city. In the same way, in the city of human body, there are many inhabitants living in here. When Almighty Allah decided to build, to construct this city, He said, Inni khaliqum basharam min salsalim min hama'im masnoon. So I am saying that this human body which was declared bashar, that was made with clay, with mud, which included water, and effects of sun and fire, certain elements, there were certain ingredients and constituent elements which constituted this whole city. Then Almighty Allah, after building this city, decided to establish a government of the city. And He decided to appoint someone as the ruler of this city. City, I mean again, human body. And that ruler must be his deputy, Allah's deputy, Allah's vicegerent, his Khalifa. إِذْ قَالَ رَبُّكَ لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ إِنِّي جَاعِلٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ خَلِيفَةً. So He decided to send His deputy, His naib, His vicegerent, His Khalifa in this city, and who would rule, who would govern, and who would be the head of the whole government of this city. This deputy, this body having animalistic ingredients, this body is not the deputy of Almighty Allah. This is just a city which has been built, which is to be governed, which is to be ruled by His deputy, His Khalifa. And that Khalifa, which was sent to rule the city, is known as rooh, the spirit. And Almighty Allah stated, فَإِذَا سَوَّيْتُهُ, when I will complete its construction, the whole city of the body would be built up. وَنَفَخْتُ فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِي, then I will send my rooh as deputy into this city. فَقَعُوا لَهُ سَاجِدِينَ. And He asked the angel, when my deputy comes into this city and takes over the charge and comes into power and takes over the charge of the city as the ruler, so my deputy has two capacities. In my connection, he is my deputy, my representative. And in its own capacity, being in the city of body, he is the ruler, king of the city. So Almighty Allah commanded the angels, when I will send my deputy as the ruler of the body, and my deputy, the ruler, will come into the city, then you have to prostrate. فَقَعُوا لَهُ سَاجِدِينَ. So this prostration and sujood was not for the city, was not for the bashar, was not for the animalistic body, was not for the dust, was not for the clay, This sujood and prostration was for the rooh, the deputy sent by Almighty Allah. The angels were asked to show their reverence, respect for his rooh. So when the rooh, the spirit, was made the ruler of the city of this body. So whenever a ruler is appointed, so always a capital for their city is needed, which becomes the seat of the ruler, which becomes the seat of the king, or a palace, a president house, a prime minister house, a house and the palace for the king, for the ruler, for the head, is always needed, which should be known as seat of the ruler. This is, as London is the capital of the UK, and here is a palace for the king, for the queen. Here is a house and residing place for the head. So heart was made the capital of that city. Heart was made the capital of that city. So heart became the center of that city. Center means capital. That's why, since the heart was made the capital and the center and the seat of his deputy, it was made the palace. And that's why Holy Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam stated, Inna Allah la yanzuru ila amalikum. Inna Allah la yanzuru ila suwarikum wala ila amalikum. Walakin yanzuru ila qulubikum wa niyatikum. That Allah, the Lord, looks neither at you nor at your deeds. He just look at your hearts and whatever is hidden in your hearts. The reason is that his deputy resides in the heart. That is his seat. Then Almighty Allah made this spirit, his deputy, responsible for the whole for governing the whole system of the city. When I speak of heart, I do not refer to this physical heart. I do not refer to this vegetal heart. I do not refer to this piece of meat. I refer to the spiritual heart. And that heart has been placed in the heart. Otherwise, this piece of meat, the vegetal heart, the physical heart, itself does not possess all those qualities and characteristics which have been related to it in Holy Quran. When Almighty Allah says, Khatam Allahu ala qulubihim, He does not mean this vegetal heart. When Almighty Allah says, Inna sam'a wal basara wal fu'ada ulaika kana anhu mas'ula, He does not mean this vegetal and physical heart. It has its own function. and that is just purification of blood, circulation of blood. But this heart is not the place of wisdom, is not the place of reasoning, is not the place of understanding, is not the place of genosis, is not the place of vision, is not the place of decision, is not the place of piety. This is not the place of sin. This is not the place of fearing from Almighty Allah. This is not the place of love. This is not the place of nearness to Almighty Allah. All those spiritual qualities and all those spiritual characteristics which have been assigned and which have been related and which have been described in connection of the heart, this vegetal heart is totally deprived of all those qualities. It means there is another heart which possesses all these qualities and characteristics described by the Holy Quran about him. That heart is the palace, and this heart is the capital city for that palace. This is the place for that heart. And the king lives in that palace. Because Almighty Allah, if you take away all these spiritual qualities and characteristics and understanding and vision and piety and all these spiritual characteristics and qualities, if you take away from this heart and this body just becomes an animal. That's why in logic it is stated as hawan-e-natik. It's become an animal. There is something which differentiates between this animalistic entity from humanistic entity. There is something which makes this animal a human being. And this heart, being the capital of the city, that heart, particular heart, all secrets which were given Almighty Allah, the secrets which were given to the king, the rooh keeps all these secrets in this heart. This heart is a safe for the secret divine documents, for secret divine commandments which are revealed. The tanzeel and revelation is on the heart. He comes into the heart. Understanding and differentiation is done through the heart. And of course, medically speaking, this vegetal heart does not possess that characteristic. So all secret documents, the secret commandments which have been revealed, secret orders which have been revealed to the deputy, for the deputy to govern the country, to city, that are kept in the safe of a heart. That heart is a safe also. And the rooh, the king, is the leader of the whole body. And if the leader goes astray, if the leader is right, for example, then all followers of the leader, they would be right. All companions of the leader would be right. all soldiers of the leader working under his leadership and command, they would be right. And if the leader goes astray, then his companions will go astray. His supporters will go astray. His soldiers, his armies, his followers, everybody will go astray. Then Almighty Allah has taught some secrets to his deputy. And these are the characters, the behaviors, the ideals, the values, the teachings, the commandments, the do's and don'ts according to Sharia, Amr and Nahi. All these commandments to govern the behavior of the body, human body, has been revealed and to the deputy. And the deputy, the rooh, who used to live in the heavenly company of Almighty Allah, who used to live in Malai A'la, and that rooh, يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الرُّوحِ قُلِ الرُّوحُ مِنْ أَمْرِ رَبِّي, from the world of Amr, that ruh was transferred to this world of Khalq, to this city of body. لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ ثُمَّ رَدَدْنَاهُ أَسْفَلَ سَافِلِينَ. Since that ruh was transferred here to govern, to rule the body, so certain commandments, certain orders, certain secrets, certain teachings were also given to ruh, revealed to ruh, to create an atmosphere, to create a spiritual atmosphere within the body similar to the atmosphere of Al-Mala'ul A'la, so that the ruh may live there happily, which was cut off from its original company. Because the ruh is crying, the spirit is crying, because the spirit, she has been cut off from its spiritual company, the nearness of Almighty Allah, where the angels used to live, where other spirits used to live, where always the lights of Almighty Allah were showering on them, where they were always praising Almighty Allah, doing tasbih and tahmeed and zikr and ibadah and worship. And the atmosphere where there was no sin, no defiance, no injustice, no act of disobedience, where there was just piety and pious atmosphere. Ruh came out from that particular environment and particular atmosphere and took the charge of the city of the body as the ruler, as the king. And ruh wants, the spirit wants to get the same atmosphere which she was used to. That's why Almighty Allah has sent some commandments to rule the body. If you enforce all these commandments, O ruh, if you enforce all these commandments, these teachings, and you rule the body in a way that they adopt this behavior which I have revealed to you, then al-insanul bashari, from inside will look like al-insanul malaki. Al-wujudul bashari will become similar to al-wujudul malaki. the dust will become equal to nur. This will become closer to the same atmosphere which used to exist in Al-Mala'ul A'la. By enforcement of that order, and if due to certain reason that king, the deputy of Almighty Allah, itself becomes disobedient, itself becomes disloyal to the Lord, to Almighty Allah, itself becomes corrupt because of wrong company. Instead of controlling the atmosphere, if this rooh starts being controlled by the atmosphere, if the atmosphere starts controlling it, whoever lives around it, in its surrounding, in its atmosphere, if they start controlling the king, controlling the rooh, then it will become corrupt. It will become disloyal to the Lord. It will become disobedient to the Lord. Then it will go astray. It will lose the trust of Almighty Allah in it. When it will become corrupt, its people, they are supposed to be ruled by it, they will also become corrupt. And they will become disloyal to him. And all powers which were entrusted to the rooh, they will just corrupt the whole system. Now, for this purpose, certain windows were created in that palace to watch what is happening in the capital, what is going around in the palace. Certain windows have been created, and these are 4 main windows: eyes to see what is happening over there, ears to hear, mouth and nose, and then of course touching hands. These are hawas khamsa, these 5 senses or 4 senses. Then they are there to watch the situation. And they work as secret agencies of the king. They keep on sending informations. Eyes keep on sending informations. Ears keep on sending informations. Nose and touching senses keep on sending certain informations. To whom? Then who is heading the secret agencies? Who is heading these organs? Who is receiving these secret informations from the senses, from the organs, from the workers? That entity who is heading all these senses, who is heading all this, whole this system and receiving the informations through these secret agencies and putting them into an order, that is known as intellect. That is aql, intellect. And intellect has been appointed as prime minister of the king. Aql, intellect, is the prime minister and chief advisor to the king. So all informations gathered by the senses, because these are the workers. These are secret agencies, secret workers. They collect the perceptions and send to the Prime Minister's office, the chief advisor to king, the chief advisor's office, these perceptions go there, and these perceptions and basic informations are received by the intellect. And intellect converts these perceptions into conceptions. Now, since there is a government, there is a king, there is a capital palace, there are secret agencies working over there, there is a prime minister, intellect receiving the information. So in every government there is an opposition leader too. There is no government without opposition. Because Almighty Allah has created the government of our body as a democratic government. Democratic government. It is not like the empire. It is not like the dictatorship. This is a democratic government. So he has appointed opposition leader too. An opposition leader is known as nafs. What is the function of opposition leader? Opposition leader is always trying to get more and more favor, to get more and more support from the members of the parliament, from agencies, from the people. Maximum, he is always busy in getting maximum support so that he may capture the capital. He may become the king, he may take over. Since as an opposition leader, nafs is always trying to get maximum support within the city government. And it is always busy in trying to establish an atmosphere so that nafs, opposition leader, may capture the capital, the heart, the center. So from here, a conflict arises between the king and opposition leader, conflict between rooh and nafs. And battlefield is heart, the qalb. This is the battlefield. Because both want to get control, to keep exclusive control of the heart. So heart, the capital, is always the battlefield. Whoever captures the capital, he gets the government of the whole country. Whoever gets hold of the capital, it means now he is going to announce his own, my government is established. So he gets hold of the whole country. So here starts the problem with rooh, and heart has become the battlefield. Rooh, the spirit, because it has come from the spiritual world. The deputy of Almighty Allah, the real ruler, it has its own armies. Pious armies. And nafs has its own vicious armies. And both forces are fighting with each other in the battlefield of heart to capture the palace, to capture the center. In this particular situation, the rooh, the king, sends a message to the opposition leader, why are you fighting with me? Why don't you live in your own limits? Why don't you become cooperative with me so that we may, by working together, we may establish a peace and harmony in the country of body. We may establish a peaceful society. Why don't you cooperate with me? Sends a message through his prime minister, the intellect, the prime minister, the chief advisor to the king, rooh, goes to the opposition leader, the nafs, and has continuous meetings, a series of meetings with the opposition leader, the nafs, frequent meetings with the nafs. Nafs is a very attractive opposition leader, very attractive. Nafs has many attractions to offer. Many attractions to offer because nafs belongs to this world and ruh belongs to that world. Whatever ruh can offer, that is in unseen, that cannot be visualized, that cannot be perceived, that cannot be easily conceived. Whatever ruh the king offers, he offers and promises the things which at present are in unseen. And whatever the opposition leader, the nafs offers, everything which he offers is readily available. So with these frequent meetings and sittings with nafs, the prime minister and chief advisor of the king is also detract. And the intellect is also deceived and falls a prey to nafs. And intellect is also influenced by nafs. When intellect, the prime minister, the head of the organizing departments, is captured by the nafs, is influenced by the nafs, is controlled by the nafs, is detract from the right path and becomes a friend of nafs and starts deceiving the ruh, the king, and becomes disloyal to the king. So since that day, all secret agencies and working and government departments which were working under the prime minister, they also get a message from prime minister to support the nafs, not to support the ruh. Because now the chief advisor is with the opposition leader. So all departments which were working under him will also support him. So one by one are leaving the king, the ruh, and gradually one by one all are going towards the side of nafs. And the ruh, the king, is becoming isolated in this whole country. It is becoming isolated. A rebellion has taken place. A revolt has taken place. The ruh has started crying and screaming. Has started crying and screaming. There is nobody to assist him. There is nobody to work with him. There is nobody to understand him. There is nobody to talk with him. There is nobody to work with him. The whole battlefield has gone to the opposition side. And since intellect is captured and influenced, so the center, capital seat, is also captured by the nafs. Heart also becomes under influence of nafs. When this whole incident takes place and the rooh feels itself isolated in this world, then rooh starts crying. Rooh starts crying. And this is the point where Maulana Rumi starts. Bishnu azne chuhi kayat mi kunad Vazjudai ha shikayat mi kunad. We will come to this part. We will start it. What Maulana Rumi has said. His first verse is, listen to Rooh, why is she crying? Maulana Rumi has not explained the whole story. He has just started from here. Listen to Rooh, why the Rooh is crying. I wanted to give you the background to make you understand what is the language of Sufiya and Awliya. When the Rooh feels isolated in this world, she screams, she is screaming, she is crying. Now summarizing the whole thing. Now I am summarizing the whole story in a bit different way, but the same thing. I want to give you the summary. All these senses in our body, they are the workers of this government. All organs, the eyes are the workers. Ears are workers. Tongue is a worker. Hands are the workers. Belly, feet, sexual organs, all these organs of our body are the workers. And they have been entrusted with specific functions. They have been bestowed with specific functions. These are the functionaries of the government. Functionaries. But the functionaries and workers can't work on their own. There should be some guardian on them. There should be some guardian on them. So guardian over these workers are the senses. Senses, the hawas, are the guardians of the organs, which are known to be the workers and functionaries of this government. Then all these senses, they guide and they control the workers and functionaries, the organs. That's why whatever any sin takes place, it begins with the eyes, because eyes are the original workers. Or the ears. And they are controlled by the senses. And the one who directs the senses and controls them, that director or that controller, that is the conception which I told you. That is the conception. Conception itself is not able to differentiate between right and wrong. It again needs some guardian, some head to differentiate between right and wrong. And the director working in that conception is the thinking. That is the thinking, which is fikr, which is sometimes fikr, which is sometimes a khayal, which is sometimes khatra, thinking, which becomes sometimes niyyah, which becomes sometimes irada, motive, then becomes intention. Step further, step further. If it comes and goes, went on, keeps on coming and going, it remains khatra. This is a term of tasawwuf and suluk. Keeps on coming and going. And if it resides, does not come and go. That was the time when you were supposed to cleanse yourself, when you were supposed to get rid of that khatra, that danger. That was the time when you were supposed to control yourself, when you were supposed to discipline yourself, to protect yourself, to safeguard yourself. When your enemy was coming and going, khatra. But since we didn't control at that time, we didn't close the door, we didn't throw that enemy out of our house of our thought, we didn't throw it out, we didn't stop it coming, we didn't notice it, we didn't safeguard ourselves, we didn't speak to our shaykh, we didn't speak to our medical consultant, we didn't speak to our murabbi, we didn't speak to any specialist, that here is a thing which is constantly coming and going, always, every day it comes, this khayal, a wrong thought, a wrong idea, always comes as a flash and goes away, comes in my mind and goes away, comes in my mind and goes away. That is the proper time to control, proper time to save yourself, and proper time to protect yourself. And we never take notice at that time. We always remain very relaxed. So by frequent visits, when it keeps on coming and it is not stopped, through frequent visits, then it is converted into himma. It is converted into himma. And it gets a position in your mind. It gets a station in your mind. It gets a house of residing place in your mind. But that is still temporary. It is still not permanent. It is living there as a tenant. It has not become the owner of the house. You can still dislocate it straight away as the first step of his act. Does a person commits the sin? Or this sin, before it is committed, undergoes through a process and various stages. Definitely it undergoes a process and various stages. The first stage is known as al-khatra. And in suluk and tasawwuf and ma'rifah, these are khatarat. And waswasa, these are different from where it is coming and where it is coming. There are different names for various. I'm not going into much technical depth. So that is the proper time to stop, to fall under the influence of that khatra. You know, the people in general common language say there is a danger. So the best policy is to stop the danger, to protect yourself from the danger. Instead of just entering putting yourself to a position to face the danger. That is better, or it is better just to protect yourself from danger. It is much easier, but we never protect it. We never protect ourselves at that stage when it was easy to protect. Then it becomes himmah. It becomes full-fledged concept. It becomes full-fledged thought. It becomes an idea, a concept, a view. It starts living in your mind as a tenant. Still you can get rid of it, but now it is a bit difficult. As compared to that time when it was not residing in here, when it was just coming, visiting. So the visiting idea is khatra and residing idea is himma. The visiting one is khatra and residing one is himma. You didn't take care of that even. You didn't take care. You remained relaxed. Then it went on, various other thoughts went on supporting, and it went on gaining strength and power. Then it became niyyah. Then it became niyyah. When it becomes niyyah, then it becomes the influential basis of any action which is going to be performed. Then it becomes difficult to root it out. And even niyyah does not become an act. Then again there is a distance between the end of niyyah and act. And there is something in between niyyah and act, and that is irada, intention. Then the niyyah is converted into intention. And when it becomes an intention, it is just about to perform the thing. It is about to become an act. And only then you perform the act. So all these senses, those who are controlling the organs, and all these senses which are sending informations, and perception is converting into conception. At this place, from khatara to himma, from himma to irada, from irada, himma to niyya, and from niyya to irada, and from irada to fail. Then comes fail or amal. Khatara is the first stage, then is himma, then is niyya, then is irada, and then is fail or amal. These were the 5 stages. So they control, this position controls the perceptions and conceptions. That was the thinking which I said, this is the whole process of thinking. The spiritual process, how the thinking takes place. And how thinking starts and where does it end. It starts from a thought, khatra, and ends into an act, commission of act. So this thinking is again controlled by intellect. This is controlled by intellect. And intellect, as I told, is the prime minister or chief advisor to the king. And the chief advisor is rooh. Rooh is sultan and deputy of Almighty Allah. And as I have already explained, the opposite authority, the opponent, the opposition leader is the nafs. And nafs is also getting a foreign aid, because nafs is the one who intrigues, who create conspiracies and intrigues to capture the heart and to dislocate the influence of rooh. So nafs is getting an external support, external aid from an external power, And that external power is known as shaitan, iblis. Shaitan is always sending his armies and supports to nafs so that he may win the battle between nafs and rooh. This devil, shaitan, is the external supporter and helper of nafs. When we talk of this nafs, since it starts, the rooh is trying to convert the nature of nafs. Rooh, the king, knows that this is the person who will do intrigues and conspiracies against me, and who will try to corrupt the whole system, and who will try to capture the capital. So Rooh wants to change the nature of nafs under its own influence. The nafs, which originally is ashqa and ammara. Originally the nafs is the commanding nafs, which Almighty Allah has stated, inna nafsa la'ammaratum bis-su. Somebody may ask, then why this evil organ, this authority, this thing was created? Just I told you, Almighty Allah has given us a democratic system in the body, so that intellect and you may choose either of the two, the right or wrong. You may become responsible for your act, and you may be awarded or rewarded. You would be responsible for the consequences of your acts. And this nafs, the ammara, does not, there is an early stage of ammara, of nafs. When it becomes commanding, strong, then it starts commanding to evil. Then it starts to take the person, because it has corporeal nature, vegetal nature, and it always commands the person to the worldly pleasures, sexual passions, and worldly attractions, commands to the evil and other blameworthy traits and habits and conduct. But the nafs does not become ammara as the first stage. In the beginning, it is makkara, an-nafsul makkara. This is deceiving nafs. It is not so strong to command towards evil. In the beginning, it starts from deceiving, from deception, deceit. Starts from putting wrong ideas, wrong wishes, wrong thoughts, supporting khatra. It starts with deceiving you. Even if you are worshipping, you are doing an act of piety, and you are intending to worship and do this particular act of piety, and you are concentrating on a particular act. And through your concentration, you want a continuity in your specific pious act. And this continuity will guarantee your advancement. So what this nafs, when it is makkara, a deceiving nafs, what this nafs will do, if straight away this nafs commands you and says, leave this act of piety and come to this evil act, come to this sin, come to this wrong act. If the nafs feels that this person is quite sensible, strong, he is not ready to accept directly my wrong command, he may reject it. If the nafs is strong and the person is weak, then it is ammara. If the person is strong in piety and nafs is weak, then it is makara. Then it works through deceiving. Then what it will do? It will not command for the evil act. It will not directly ask you to leave this act of piety and go towards the wrong act. No, it will give a deception. It will say, no, this is a good act, nice to do. But if you want sawab, if you want more prayer of Almighty Allah, that other act of Hajj or Jihad or doing any other pilgrimage or particular act of piety is higher in status, and you will get more sawab and rewards from that. So he will detract your concentration. He will create a confusion in your mind. He will snatch concentration from you. You will be neither here nor there. Now you will be confused minded, whether should I do this or should I go to that particular pious? Should I do tilawat of Holy Quran or should I read Darood Sharif? Should I go to the Hajj and Umrah or Ziyarah of any saint or the Al-Hidaya camp, or should I give this money for charity for the poor people, 200 pounds? So the deceiving nafs creates a confusion in your mind and make you indecisive by disturbing the concentration. Sometimes the deceiving nafs puts raya into your mind. So sometimes it works through deception, some deceiving, sometimes it works through commanding. If it deceives, it is an-nafsul makkara. If it commands, and it is strong enough to command, then it is an-nafsul ammara. And nafsul ammara is the one which fights with rooh. If the rooh is strong, influential, and intellect is strong and quite cooperative with rooh, and having quite good understanding and sound and profound knowledge, wisdom, ilm, al-ilmun nafi', intellect. Because intellect is the advisor. That's why it is stated that Imam Malik said, Man tasawwafa walam yatafaqqah faqad tazandaq. وَمَنْ تَفَقَّهَ وَلَمْ يَتَفَقَّهْ فَقَدْ تَفَسَّقَ وَمَنْ جَمَعَ بَيْنَهُمَا فَقَدْ تَحَقَّقَ. Those who want to become worshippers, those who want to become very strong worshippers, those who want to indulge themselves in act of piety, act of worship, act of cleansing the nafs, but they do not achieve the proper, sound and profound ilm of deen, al-fiqh, al-fahm, al-ma'rifah of ahkamud-deen. They are ignorant of deen, knowledge. They remain illiterate, as lots of so-called claimant of tasawwuf and Sufis, those who claim to be Sufis, but they do not possess the deep, real, true knowledge of deen and sharia and fiqh. And they are away from the sound knowledge of deen and fiqh, the sound knowledge of Quran and Sunnah. They are jahil. Al-abid al-jahil. He is a worshipper, abid, but he is jahil. He does not possess the noor of ilm. The noor of ilm which was spreaded by Holy Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. Because the whole process of purification of nafs, the process of cleansing, the process of purification, the process of spiritual advancement, Holy Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam started from Iqra. Bismi rabbikal ladhi khalaq. It was started from knowledge. It was started with Yatlu alaykum ayatina. He recites the ayat, our verses onto you. وَيُزَكِّيكُمْ وَيُعَلِّمُكُمُ الْكِتَابَ وَالْحِكْمَةِ. So he starts from the knowledge of Quran. Then he purifies the nufus. Then at the same time, he provides you the deep knowledge of Kitab al-Quran and knowledge of as-Sunnah and al-Hikmah and al-Fiqh and al-Ma'rifah. وَيُعَلِّمُكُمْ مَا لَمْ تَكُونُوا تَعْلَمُونَ. And then asrar and secrets. So the process which Holy Prophet ﷺ gave to Ummah, both things go side by side. They were never detached. So those who were ulama ul batin, the ulama of batin, the specialists in tazkiyah, the specialist in ihsan, the specialist in tasawwuf, the specialist in tariqah, the specialist in ma'rifah, they at the same time were great scholars of Quran and Sunnah and al-Fiqh and of Sharia. Sharia was never detached from tariqah, and tariqah was never detached from Sharia. Neither of the two was isolated. They always remained together. And those who put both things together, they achieve the truth and reality. And Imam Malik said, those who just want to achieve the blessings of tasawwuf and they remain detached from the knowledge of fiqh-ud-din, they will go astray. They will be misguided. And those who just want the knowledge of al-fiqh, ilmu zahir, ilmu ahkam ad-din, ilmu ahkam al-sharia, but they detach the ilm of sharia from ilm of tariqah and tasawwuf, the knowledge of purification, and ilmul batin. They detach. They just want to concentrate on ilm of zahir, on the Quranic verses, and ulum of fiqh, and ulum of sharia, and ilm of zahir. And they do not believe, this is what Imam Malik said, and they do not believe in tasawwuf, and suluk, and tariqah, and the knowledge of purification of heart, and the knowledge of purification of nafs and mind and soul. They remain disconnected with tasawwuf. He said they will become fasiq. Only those will achieve the haqq, the truth and reality, those who combine the both things together. There is a great danger for both. Those, the claimant of tasawwuf, mutasawwifin, those who claim to be Sufis, but they are away from the knowledge of Sharia, they are in a great danger. Because when shaitan will attack on them, when nafs will attack on them, they have not read anything. What are the methodologies of your enemy, of the nafs? What does nafs makkara, what he can do to you? What a nafs ammara can do to you? Which are various directions and directions of attacking on you? And which are the ways and methodologies and techniques how a nafs can detract from you from the right path? What are the policies of shaitan? Which are the fitnas of dunya? You are unaware of these realities which have been told by Sharia. Where lies halal, where is haram, and where is shubhat? How you have to achieve the taqwa and zuhud and wara. You have never gone through these realities. You lack the knowledge. So these kind of peers and jahil Sufis and the claimant of gaddis and the claimant of these piris and the tasawwuf, they will go astray and they will misguide their followers and murid too. And on the other hand, there are hundreds and thousands of scholars in this world who claim to be the followers of Quran and Sunnah. But this Quran says, وَيُدِلُّ بِهِ كَثِيرًا وَيَهْدِي بِهِ كَثِيرًا. There are lot many people who are being misguided through Quran because they are deprived of of benefiting from the Quran. Quran is a rain of blessings, of ilm, of marifah, of secret. But it's the same rain comes to a land, falls on a land which has been properly cultivated and the seeds have been sown into it, and there's a proper gardener looking after it, then that land will be able to get benefit of this rain. Then the flowers will come out. Then the fruit will come out. Beautiful plants will come out. Then you will get benefit of it. And if the same rain showers on a piece of land which is full of dirt, which is not purified, which has not been cleaned, and no gardener has cultivated it, and no seed of love of Almighty Allah has been sown into it, no seed of ta'ah of Allah and marifah of Allah has been sown into it, no seed of taqwa and wara and zuhud has been sown into it. It has not been purified. Qad khaba man dassaha. It has not been purified. And the same rain showers on that piece of land, it will create hundreds of diseases and illnesses and infections. So those who just want to become the followers of the ulum zahiriyya, Quran and Sunnah, and they talk of imams, and they talk of fiqh, and they talk of the books, and they are against Sufiya, the protectors of qulub, the protectors of arwah, the protectors of the purification of heart and purification of soul, those who are specialists of the purification and cleansing of heart and soul and spirit. And those who do not get the ma'rifah and the knowledge from them, then ilm zahir will detract them and they will again be misguided. And nafs ammara and nafs makkara will detract them. So when spirit influences on nafs, and nafs get rid of the characteristics of this ammara and makkara, so it is upgraded to the stage of blaming nafs. Blaming nafs is a nafsul lawwama. Again, if nafsul lawwama is upgraded towards piety and gets more influenced, here is the matter of who is influencing and who is being influenced. Because the heart has to take the side of the one who has become stronger, who is the stronger one. Whether heart will go to the spirit or heart will go to the nafs. If nafs itself goes to spirit, then heart will definitely go to the spirit. So the whole control would be of the spirit, of the king. So if it is further upgraded towards rooh, the nafsul lawwama, if it becomes nafsul lawwama, then it starts receiving the revelations, ilhamat, the good thoughts, good ideas, pious ideas are revealed into it. Alhamaha fujuraha wa taqwaha. It starts differentiating between right and wrong. Then it becomes nafs al-mulhama. Because some say al-mulhama because revelation, it receives the revelation. And some says mulhima, that it gives the revelation and thoughts and ideas. And then this nafs mulhama is upgraded up to nafs mutma'inna. Mulhama is inspired nafs, the inspired soul. then it is further upgraded and accepts more influence of rooh, the spirit, more influence of spirit. Then it achieves the next stage, and that is nafs mutma'inna. It is nafs at rest. It totally disassociates itself from the blameworthy attributes and characteristics and sinful tendencies, and it becomes sound and profound and satisfied with act of piety and Allah's pleasure. So in the prior stage, nafs assumes the stages of intellect. And when it becomes nafs mutmainna, it resumes the state of qalb. And they become in one line with the rooh. Nafs, qalb and rooh becomes in one single line, one sequence. And when the nafs becomes mutmainnah, then it has further some stages and some characteristics. Some Sufiya and Awliya say that these are various kinds of nafs. Some say no, these are further higher stages of al-nafsul mutmainnah. Some say these are the stages of nafsul mutmainnah. Some say this is just a difference of words. Some say these are not the stages of nafsul mutmainnah. At every new stage, it acquires a new name, new position, new nature, new status. So after nafsul mutmainnah is the nafs at rest. When the nafs starts returning, this is very important point, when the nafs starts returning towards Lord. Up till now, it was functioning, working, striving, struggling in asfala safilin. It was working in this dunya. زُيِّنَ لِلنَّاسِ حُبُّ الشَّهْوَاتِ مِنَ النِّسَاءِ وَالْبَنِينَ وَالْقَنَاطِيرِ الْمُقَنْطَرَةِ مِنَ الذَّهَبِ وَالْفِضَّةِ إِلَى آخِرِ الْآيَةِ. It was striving and struggling in this atmosphere, and it was cut off from the Mala'ul A'la. It was not connected with Ruh. Now, when it achieves the stage of an-nafsul mutmainnah, it is cut off with the lower stage, the lower world, and it is attached with the heavenly world, higher world, because it becomes connected with Ruh. When the nafs becomes connected with Ruh, it itself achieves the status of qalb. And when it becomes connected with Ruh, then the qualities of Ruh and the characteristics of Ruh, then they are transferred to nafs. And here the nafs starts returning back to the Lord, to the place where it came from, to the origin of Ruh and origin of everything. This is the point where returning journey starts. Since now it is returning, and why I am saying it is returning, Almighty Allah says, Ya ayyatuha nafsul mutmainnah irji'i ila rabbik. O nafs mutmainnah, O soul at rest. Nafs is soul. O soul at rest, or self-assured soul. Self-assured soul, or soul at rest. An-nafsul mutmainnah, irji'i, return to me. This was never said to the prior stages of nafs. Almighty Allah never said to an-nafsul ammara irji'i, because Allah knows he is defiant and disobedient. He wants to make him obedient. It was never stated to nafs al-lawwama irji'i, although he swore La uqsimu bin nafs al-lawwama, because the nafs al-lawwama, oppressing and blaming, it has started blaming the nafs for committing the evils. It is now being disturbed by commission of evils and wrong acts. It is now blaming the wrong things. Because of these characteristics of blaming the wrong and blaming the evil, Almighty Allah swears by it. And when it is upgraded, then Almighty Allah starts revealing into it good ideas, good thoughts, good wishes, good wills. So it becomes the recipient of the heavenly thoughts and heavenly ideas. When it starts receiving the thoughts and ideas from heavens, only then, and if it becomes stable, it becomes al-nafsul mutma'innah. And when it achieves the state of nafsul mutma'innah, Almighty Allah says, now you are able to return to me. Now another journey has started now. Now he is going back to the Lord. In company of rooh, they are going both together. They are working side by side. Nafs has surrendered in front of rooh. The whole government of the capital and the city and the country has been totally handed over to the king, to Sultan. The Sultan, who is the deputy of Almighty Allah. And now the rooh, the deputy of Allah, is in a very easy atmosphere to enforce whatever Allah has commanded. Now the whole body, the heart, the organs, the senses, the wishes, the propensities, everything is receiving the commandments of Almighty Allah through rooh happily. And Allah's command and Allah's will is being enforced in the whole body. When the commands of Almighty Allah are being enforced in the whole body, so then the internal atmosphere of a bashar has become an atmosphere of the malak. Then nasut has become malakut. Then this vegetal body has converted from animalistic and vegetal body is converted into angelic body. Now angels are coming to say salam to that person. Now angels are coming to embrace the person. When the nafs is returned to Almighty Allah and is in consonance with the rooh, and nafs has surrendered in front of the rooh, and nafs has totally accepted the obedience to Almighty Allah, and nafs has submitted to the order and commandment of Almighty Allah, and nafs has become satisfied with what Allah wants and what Allah commands. So the whole system of government is changed. The whole atmosphere of capital is changed. The whole functioning of our organs are changed. Then your hands, your eyes, your feet, your belly, your organs, any organ of your body, now it is totally unable to commit any disobedience to Allah. Now the body cannot commit any sin, because body was being controlled by the organs, and organs were being controlled by the senses. The senses were being controlled by the intellect, and intellect was being controlled and influenced by the nafs, ammara. Since the nafs is changed and has surrendered in front of the rooh, so the whole control of each and every department of the country has been given to rooh. And what is rooh? Kulir rooh min amri rabbi. Rooh is the amr of Allah. Rooh is amr of Allah. So now nafs have in fact accepted the amr of Allah. Nafs has become a reflection of the rooh. That's why the whole atmosphere. So this is the reason that a man apparently seems the same person. Same eyes, same ears, same head, same body, same face, same organs, same bashariyah, same vegetal entity, same apparently animalistic entity. But what change has occurred? That the same body once was kafir. The same person once upon a time was a kafir. Same person, another time, he was a fasiq, mu'min fasiq. At the same time, sometime he was zalim. Sometime the same person was muqtasid. And sometime the same person now has become sabiq. He is running towards Lord, running towards piety, running towards obedience to Lord. Why? Because the nafs has surrendered to the rooh. And Allah's amr has been completely accepted and enforced. When total consonance is created in the body, and there is no conflict between nafs, qalb and rooh, when there is no consistency, when there is no conflict, when there is no contradiction, when there is no dispute, when there is no line of disliking and disagreement, when there is no disagreement between nafs, qalb and rooh, so this total consistency makes the person waliullah. Now he says, now you are my friend. Why? Because nafs has started the journey of returning to me. Irji'i ila rabbik. So in appearance the person looks like the same as he was before, appearance. But the whole change has taken place inside. Only those can see who can see inside. Only those can understand. So now this nafs has become a nafsul mutma'innah. And when the nafs becomes mutma'innah and starts a journey towards Almighty Allah, then Almighty Allah starts showering His blessings onto that nafs. And wilaya starts from an-nafsul mutma'innah. An-nafsul mutma'innah is wilaya. An-nafsul mutma'innah is wilaya. Allah's friendship. Now Allah's blessings start coming onto it. And the first blessing is that Almighty Allah says, radiyatan. It becomes pleasing nafs. It becomes contenting nafs. Whatever he receives, he is contented with that. Whatever received, he is pleased with that. When he becomes radiyah, pleasing, then Almighty Allah further upgrades it and makes it mardiyah. Now you are pleased. So when the nafs was radiyah, at that time he was seeker, talib. When it becomes mardiyah, it becomes matloob. The one who is sought. When it was radiyah, it becomes lover of Almighty Allah. It was lover. When it becomes mardiyah, it becomes the beloved of Allah. When nafs was radiyah, it was murid. When it becomes mardiyah, it became murad of Allah. And then Almighty Allah upgrades it further and says, udkhulu fi ibadi. First it became nafs al-mutmainnah. Irji'i ila rabbik. Nafs mutmainnah was nafs raji'ah. It was nafs raji'ah ilallah. Then Almighty Allah placed the nafs mutmainnah at the stage of nafs radiyah. Then Almighty Allah further upgraded it and placed it at the stage of nafs mardiyah. Irji'i ila rabbiki radiyatan mardiyah. Then further advancement took place and Almighty Allah placed it another. I have created some further stages which normally have not been mentioned in the books. When it became mardiyah, the matloob of Allah, the sought, the loved, beloved, then Almighty Allah says, udkhulu fadkhulu fi ibadi. Now you enter in the company of my ibad. This is fourth stage. And these ibadi, these are Al-ibad al-mukhlasin. Here nafs becomes nafs-e-kamila. And this is known as nafs-e-zakiyah. When it becomes fadkhulu fi ibadi, now enter into the company of my servants, special servants. Now this nafs is totally protected and guaranteed. Its protection is guaranteed by Almighty Allah from every kind of influence of whatever was done. It becomes mahfuz and ma'moon. It is guaranteed protected. And Shaitan said about the same when he said, فَبِعِزَّتِكَ لَأُغْوِيَنَّهُمْ أَجْمَعِينَ. Then he had to accept إِلَّا عِبَادَكَ مِنْهُمُ الْمُخْلَصِينَ. He never said مِنْهُمُ الْمُخْلِصِينَ. There is a great difference between mukhlis and mukhlas. Mukhlis was the beginning and mukhlas is the end. Mukhlis was the start. Ikhlas, sincerity. This was the start. And now he has become mukhlas. Yani you got rid of nafs ammara and all bad attributes. You have got rid from that. You have been protected from that. You have been totally purified. You have been totally cleansed. You have been guaranteed protection. And Almighty Allah said the same thing. Inna ibadi laysa laka alayhim sultan. Those who are my special servant, shaitan, you would have no influence on them. This is Quranic guarantee. These ibadi have been mentioned in this verse. Inna ibadi laysa laka alayhim sultan. Those who are my ibad, special servants, you won't be able to influence them. So now it is stated, فَإِرْجِعِي إِلَىٰ رَبِّكِ رَاضِيَةً مَرْضِيَّةً فَادْخُلِي فِي عِبَادِي. Now enter into this list of my ibad, al-ibadul kamilin, al-mukhlasin. Those who are totally protected and those whom protection has been guaranteed divinely and shaitan has no influence over them. And still there is one stage left. Then he says, فَادْخُلُوا فِي عِبَادِي. Here the nafs is al-kamila, al-mukhlasa, al-zakiyah. And then there is another stage, then stated, فَادْخُلُوا فِي عِبَادِي وَادْخُلِي جَنَّتِي. Wow, atifa. وَادْخُلِي جَنَّتِي. And now enter into my special Jannah, Jannatul Qurba. Here the nafs becomes a nafsul mukarraba. As mentioned in Holy Quran about the three groups, Ashabul Shimal, Ashabul Yameen and Al-Mukarrabun. And they will drink from special fountains. Now, Wadkhuli Jannati, oh my Mukarrab nafs, you have become my Mukarrab nafs. Come here and drink from my special fountains of nearness. So this is Al-Mutmainnah, then this is Rajia, then Radiya, then Mardiya, then Zakiya and Kamila, and then Al-Mukarraba. This is how nafs travels towards Lord, returns back towards Lord. As this nafs has this position, the same way as nafs goes on advancing spiritually, as the nafs goes on advancing spiritually and goes on being upgraded spiritually, at the same time, qalb, I talk of three things. The primary, how is it possible if a position leader is being upgraded? How can he leave the Prime Minister without advancement and upgradation? And how is it possible he would leave his own king without upgradation? So at the same time, because this was the conquest of the rooh and qalb, all the three are in the same line. So at the same time, now the qalb also starts advancement towards Almighty Allah. Qalb also starts advancement. When this qalb was under the influence, under the control of nafs, qalb, when the heart, the battlefield, the palace, the capital was under the influence of nafs, ruh was weaker, nafs was stronger, nafs was commanding nafs. And it had a command and control over heart. And heart was either commanded by nafs or it was controlled or influenced by nafs. At that time the qalb was qalb mayyit. If heart was under influence of the nafs, nafsul ammara, at that time the stage of heart was dead heart, a dead heart. Qalb mayyit. When nafs started getting rid of evil and bad attributes and blameworthy characteristics, and it started advancement towards the spirit, towards divinity, along with the nafs, the soul's advancement, heart also started its spiritual advancement. So when this was qalb mayyit means qalb ghafil. Quran says, wasbir nafsak ma'alladhina yad'una rabbahum bil ghadati wal ishi yuriduna wajha wala ta'du aynaka anhum turidu zinata al hayati dunya wala tuti', yes, this is stated, wala tuti' man aghfalna qalbahu an dhikrina. Don't follow those whose heart have become dead hearts and they are not engaged in our dhikr, in our remembrance. Those hearts which have forgotten us, don't follow those. So this Quranic verse specifically declares that there are some hearts which are known as qulubi ghafila. Man aghfalna qalbahu an dhikrina. And on the other hand, in the beginning of the verse, Quran says, wasbir nafsak ma'alladhina yad'una rabbahum bil ghadati wal ishi. Don't follow a person who has qalbi ghafil, and follow those who possess qalbi dhakir. This is what Almighty Allah has asked us to do. Stick to the company of those who are always engaged in my remembrance, who are always remembering me and invoking me, who are always in my remembrance, in the morning, in the evening, in their days, in their nights. Stick yourself in their company, follow them, be their followers, be their friends, be their followers and friends and associates. If you find their qalb is qalb dhakir, so this is qalb hayy, qalb zinda, and that was qalb murda, qalb mayyit, qalb ghafil, dead heart. And the heart who is remembering Almighty Allah is qalb hayy. It is known as the living heart. Now the heart has become qalb zakir is qalb hayy. The more the nafs was surrendering its will to the will of Lord, the more the nafs was surrendering its priorities and propensities and likings to the commandments of Lord, and the more the nafs was becoming into consonance and consistency to the characteristics of rooh, sultan, the king. It was being advanced stage by stage, step by step. In the same way, the qalb is now becoming upgraded step by step. It was qalb ghafil, mayyit, it became qalb hay, qalb zakir. When a qalb becomes zakir, starts remembering Almighty Allah, then the continuous remembrance of Almighty Allah, through this continuous remembrance, Almighty Allah starts showering His lights, divine consciousness, divine awareness, al-ma'rifah. Almighty Allah starts sending His ma'rifah to the heart, and then the qalb becomes qalb khabir, the awakened heart. Awakened heart. The qalb is become bakhabar. He is knowing something about the divinity. And Quran says, Ar-Rahman fas'al bihi khabira. If you want to know something about me, go to the one who has qalb khabir. Go and ask those who are khabir, those who have the news. So now this qalb has the news of divinity. Now the divine news are being revealed into that qalb. The angels are revealing divine news in that qalb. The divine light is now coming into his heart. Afaman sharahallahu sadrahu lil Islam. This is inshirah. Fahuwa ala nurim mir rabbih. Then this has become full of nur, full of news, full of wisdom, and full of khabar, the news. Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal radiyallahu ta'ala anhu was asked, he was questioned, you are a great imam of sharia and great imam of fiqh, and everybody from all over the world comes to you to ask whatever he wants about sharia, to know something about sharia. Everybody comes to you. Why do you go and sit in the company of a person who is barefooted, Bishr al-Hafi? A person who walks in the streets of Baghdad without shoes. Bishr al-Hafi, a great saint and waliullah. Everybody from various corners of the world come to you to seek guidance of sharia. Why do you go and sit in the company of Bishr al-Hafi, a person with naked feet, without shoes, walking in the streets? What you get from him? You know what did he reply? Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal said, and this has been quoted by Imam Ali al-Hujwairi in Kashful Mahjub. And Imam Ali, Sayyidina Ali al-Hujwairi is one of the great students of Imam Abul Qasim al-Qushayri. So he replied that I understand you come to me to know the news of Sharia. You come to me to know the news of Sharia. And I go to him to know the news of Allah. I have better understanding of Sharia. And he has better understanding of the one who has sent Sharia to us. And whenever in the company of Bishr al-Hafi radiyallahu ta'ala anhu was over and the people used to go back to their houses and he was just alone, and he got seclusion, privacy. Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal used to ask when he got the privacy, nobody was there, everybody has gone back. Then he used to ask Bishr al-Hafi, tell me some news about Allah. Tell me some news about Allah. So this is al-qalb al-khabir. And this happens, the news starts coming into the heart. When the heart expands, it achieves the state of bast. And Imam Ba Yazid Bistami rahimahullah ta'ala said that when nafs contracts, heart starts expanding. When nafs gets the state of qabd, when nafs gets the state of qabd, qabd means contraction, then heart gets the state of expansion, bast. And nafs get the stage of expansion. When nafs is expanded, then heart goes into contraction. When there is bast in nafs, there is qabd in qalb. And when there is qabd in nafs, there is bast in qalb. When nafs, the soul, is contracted, heart gets expansion. And when soul is expanded, then heart gets contraction. When heart enters into the state of expansion, it starts receiving the news of divinity, becomes qalb khabir, and this qalb khabir is qalb arif. This is qalb arif. When it becomes khabir, it gets the news, becomes knowledge, gets the wisdom, proper understanding, deep understanding of divinity and Almighty Allah and His secrets. Then this qalb, because of this knowledge of divinity, starts inabat, and qalb becomes qalb munib. Becomes qalb munib. This is contrite heart. Then heart is further upgraded. When it is upgraded, it becomes qalb salim. This is sound heart. Sound heart. When it is further upgraded, it becomes qalb shaheed. This is the witnessing heart. Then the curtains are unveiled and he receives the mushahada. This is the witnessing heart. He enters into the stage of mushahada. As nafs was upgraded and starting from Makkara and Ammara, entered into the valley of Radiya, Mardiya, Kamila and Mukarraba. Those valleys, in the same way, heart which used to be mayyat, ghafil, when left that state, and by stage advancement finally achieved the stage of mushahada. He starts witnessing the beauty of Lord, the beauty of Almighty Allah. In the same way, the final and last advancement takes place in the Sultan, the king. Now Almighty Allah blesses, becomes pleased with the king, his deputy, and says, congratulations, you have won the battle. The king has won the battle. Nafs is under the king. Heart is under the king. Now there is complete consonance. Now there is complete peace, complete harmony. And whole atmosphere has become harmonious atmosphere, a spiritual atmosphere, a lightful atmosphere. And this human body The Nasuti Jism, Al-Jismun Nasuti has become Al-Malakut. And further, it has achieved the attributes of Jabarut. And further, it has achieved the attributes and characteristics of Lahut. So Almighty Allah is pleased with Sultan, with the Rooh. And the wisdom of Rooh, how the Rooh has worked and functioned, and how the Rooh has brought everything in consonance. So Almighty Allah starts upgrading the Rooh too. So nafs was upgraded, qalb was upgraded, and now Rooh is also upgraded. In the beginning, Rooh, if the Rooh is indulged, if the Rooh is defeated, if the Rooh becomes isolated, and if the Rooh lost the battle, then do you know what happens as a final stage? When the intellect leaves the Rooh, when qalb, heart leaves the Rooh, nafs leaves the Rooh, all functionaries leaves the Rooh, all organs and senses leaves the Rooh. When everybody become against Rooh, then the whole Rooh is become a captive, is confined, is become prison. And when Rooh becomes a prison, confined and a captive, and it is in a prison, then this Rooh becomes itself Ruhul Hayawani. It has lost the battle. Then it starts losing its own characteristics, because the whole company is changed. And the whole changed company and atmosphere starts affecting the Rooh, starts influencing the Rooh. And Rooh also starts forgetting its origin, starts one by one losing its own characteristics and attributes, and it becomes a Ruh al-Hayawani. This Ruh becomes Ruh Hayawani. This is animal spirit. This is just a life in an animal. This is what happens to Ruh, just as a life in an animal, and nothing else, a source of life. And it has lost its own divine characteristics and attributes. When Ruh starts conquering, starts succeeding, and starts influencing on other entities of the world, intellect and nafs and other things, then Ruh, if Ruh is again from asfala safilin, and Ruh comes back to ahsan taqweem, and comes back to kulir ruh min amri rabbi, towards alamul amr, then Ruh becomes a ruhul insani. Then Ruh is further upgraded, it becomes a ruhul malaki, angelic spirit. Angelic spirit. Then angelic spirit is further upgraded, it becomes Ruhul Ain. Ruhul Ain, the real spirit. It is achieving, restoring all characteristics of divine world. It is coming back to the same character as its character used to be before it was transferred from divine world to this world. It is restoring its characters one by one, characteristics. It's going back to its originality. It's going back to its divinity. It is becoming more and more powerful. That's why the same Ruh, which is a Ruhul Hayawani in a man, has a different position. And Ruhul Insani in a man is possessing a different position. And the same Ruh, when it becomes a Ruhul Malaki, it possesses a different status. It has a different functions. It has a different characteristics. It has different effects and influences. Rooh is same. Rooh is same. But it starts even functioning after the death of this body. When the body is dead, a Ruhul Malaki is alive. Keeps on giving phase to those people who are attached with this Ruh. Because now the Ruh has again attained the position of Nur, the position of Malakut and Jabarut, the position of Al-Mala'ul A'la. It has restored its position as it was when it used to be a Ruhul Mujarrada. Before it became a Ruh Al-Mutajassada, Al-Mutajassad, Al-Mutamassal, Al-Mutajassad. Before it was transferred into this prison of body, as it was when it was independent in Mala'ul A'la, it is going to attain and restore the same characteristics again. Living here, acting as if it is there. So it becomes a Ruhul Ain, the real spirit. When it becomes Ruhul Ain, real spirit, then further upgraded, it is further upgraded, and then it gets the qualities of Ruhul Quds, the trusted spirit, Ruhul Amin, Sayyidina Jibreel Amin alayhi salam. He is known as Ruhul Quds. Arsalna ilayha ruhana fatamassala laha basharan sawiya. When Jibreel Amin was sent to Sayyida Maryam, Almighty Allah says, Arsalna ilayha ruhana. This is the trusted spirit. Jibreel Amin possesses the trust of Almighty Allah in him. That's why Almighty Allah trusts and confers his revelation to him. And he, as a trustworthy agent of Almighty Allah, reveals the revelation of Allah to the hearts of the prophets. So the Ruhul Ain starts resembling to the characteristics of the Ruhul Amin and Ruhul Quds. When it gets the properties and qualities and characteristics and attributes resembling to the attributes of Ruhul Amin, those attributes are now started reflecting in this Ruh, reflection of this Ruh. Then a stage, this is where are the stages, and this is the highest form is Ruhul Amin. Among all the arwah, the highest status is possessed by Ruhul Quds and Ruhul Amin. And when Ruh gets advancement from there, so the highest, the absolute highness is the Ruhul Arwah, and that is Al-Haqiqatul Muhammadiyya. That is the extreme of heights in Ruhul Arwah. There is Al-Haqiqatul Muhammadiyya. Then this Ruhul Arwah, which becomes the reflection of Al-Haqiqa Al-Muhammadiyya. This is the highest form where the Ruh goes. And then the Ruh, after Ruh, at the same stage, then the Sir, the inner self of Ruh, the Sir, it starts improving. And that is mystery. And this is the higher stage, higher than Ruh, as it was Aql, Nafs. Then it was, first of all it was Tabiyya. Then it was Nafs. Then it was Aql. Then it was Qalb. Then it was Ruh. And now the next stage has come, that is sir. This is the mystery, inner consciousness. And from sir, it is improved. The sir, it has again 3 stages. A sirrul mujarrad, detached mystery, detached inner consciousness. It is isolated, detached sir, the mystery, the higher next world for rooh. Then it achieved sirrul ilm. Then there is sirrul hal, sir, mystery of knowledge. Then there is sirrul hal, mystery of the spiritual state. Then there is sirrul haqiqa, the mystery of reality, the mystery of absolute reality. The sir achieves all these stages. Then it is further promoted into sirru sir. There is ultimate inner consciousness, ultimate mystery. Sirru sir then becomes ru'yatu sirri sir, the vision of ultimate mystery. And after vision of ultimate mystery, the 7th stage for sir mystery comes, and that is the marifatu sirri sir, gnosis of ultimate mystery, gnosis of ultimate inner consciousness. These are lataif, the spiritual stages, the spiritual entities, the spiritual abstract entities in this world, along with the nafs and intellect and qalb. Everything starts improving and advancing towards Almighty Allah. And after marifatu sirri sir, then comes khafi. This khafi is arcane, trance consciousness. Then khafi is akhfa, the most arcane, most super consciousness. This is super consciousness. Akhfa. This is the highest form of inner mystery. And after khafi and akhfa comes ghaib, the unseen. Unseen. And after ghaib comes ghaibul ghaib, the ultimate unseen. And that is the ultimate reality of Almighty Allah, the Lord. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was blessed with this position. He was blessed with the knowledge of ghaibul ghaib. And Quran said, وَمَا هُوَ عَلَى الْغَيْبِ بِضَنِينَ. These were various positions which take place and which occur from time to time in this world of human body. These are various entities which work within human life. These are various realities which function in human life. These are their various stages, these various forms, their various manifestations, their various reflections. How do they exist at various times? How do they exist in various stages? How do they function? How do they act? How do they demonstrate when they possess various positions and manifestations and various natures? What kind of changes occur into them? And how do these changes occur? And when occurrence of the changes take place in various divine, spiritual entities of human being, then what are the stages of their advancement? And the person who was in the lowest form of nafs is also known as insan. And the person who is at the highest form of knowledge of ghaibul ghaib, and highest form of qalb, and highest form of rooh, and highest form of sir, and highest form of sirru sir, and highest form of khafi, and highest form of akhfa, and the highest form of ghaib, and then he is blessed with ghaibul ghaib. He is also a insan. And here are we consider all insan to be equal and similar. Why? Because the appearance of body is same. Appearance is same. My dear daughters, my dear sons, brothers and sisters, the question is not the appearance. We are here to change the inner self. We are here to change our realities. Appearance is just a deception. It is just an outer wall of a city, a boundary wall of a country. And everything is inside the wall. Armies are inside the wall. Armies of rooh and armies of nafs fighting with each other. Nobody knows what is happening inside. Battlefield is inside. All functionaries are inside our personality. Nothing appears in appearance. Nothing appears in our external posture. External posture is the same, whether somebody is a kafir or somebody is a mu'min. Body is the same. But I tell you, and I swear by God, when inner realities are changed, although the body which is seen with these eyes looks to be same, but body itself does not remain the same. Because there is a body. When it goes in the grave, it also becomes dust with dust. And there is a body which after death, when it is put in a grave, it is placed on the dust. But dust which touches that body itself becomes like nur. It never becomes dust in dust. It remains alive. There is no decay, chemical decay. Because here the body was controlling the rooh. In this case, the nafs was controlling the qalb and rooh. In that case, now rooh is controlling the qalb, rooh is controlling the nafs, rooh is controlling the aql and intellect, and rooh is the one who is controlling the body. So the one which controls, his characteristics would be influencing that reality. If the body and nafs controls the rooh, rooh itself becomes a dead body. An-nafsul hayawani. If body controls the nafs, qalb and jism, and our body, then the body starts achieving the characteristics of rooh. Characteristics of rooh. That's why an ordinary person is either here or here. His body cannot be seen at various places at the same time. Because body has to function as a body, as a vegetal entity, as a physical entity, as a materialistic entity. But when body is controlled, comes under the control of rooh. And how does body comes under the control of rooh? When nafs and qalb, everybody surrenders in front of rooh, then body also comes under the control of rooh. Then the characteristics of rooh start reflecting through the body. That's why there is a body which cannot be present at various places at one time, because this is vegetal body. And there is a body, when it becomes a spiritual body, it can be seen, a body of Sayyidina Ghawsul Azam Shaykh Abdul Qadir al-Jilani, and body of many of the great saints and awliya of Ummah. Then they are seen at the same time at various 40 cities. Because this is now the function of rooh has started. Now this is tamassulul arwah and tajassudul arwah. The same process has started as Ruhul Amin came to Sayyida Maryam in a form of a human body. فَتَمَثَّلَ لَهَا بَشَرًا سَوِيًّا. Ruhul Amin was Ruh, but he was given a body. When the same Ruh achieves the status and the characteristics of Al-Quds starts reflecting in that Ruh, the Ruh also starts functioning in the same way, and it is present at many places as a single body. Real body remains at the same place, but the Ruh, the spirit, that goes on achieving various manifestations. Then Asif bin Barkhiyah, the Sahabi of Sayyidina Sulaiman alayhi salam, a wali of the time, a wali of Sayyidina Sulaiman's time, when Ruh achieves the status of destined, that great status which it is supposed to achieve finally, and starts controlling the body, then Asif bin Barkhiyah apparently is sitting in the office of Sayyidina Sulaiman alayhi salam, sitting in his court, but at the same time he is bringing the throne of Queen Saba from 1,000 miles away from his court. He disappears, but he does not disappear. He is present and he is disappearing. When Sayyidina Sulaiman alayhi salam asked, Ayyukum yatini bi arshiha qabla an yatuni muslimin. Qala ifritun min al-jinni ana atika bihi qabla an taquma min maqamik. He said, no, I don't accept this offer. Qala allazi indahu ilmun min al-kitab. Then that person, the wali Asif bin Barkhiyah, stood up. Qala ana atika bihi qabla an yartadda ilayka tarfuk. I can bring that throne from 1,000 miles before twinkling of your eyes. This is Quran. This is not a story written by any other scholar. So the question is, how did he go and come back? And when Hazrat Sulaiman alayhi salam twinkled his eyes, the throne was there. فَلَمَّا رَآهُ مُسْتَقِرًّا إِنْدَهُ قَالَ هَذَا مِنْ فَضْلِ رَبِّي. Because then this person becomes fadl of Allah. So he remained there, he disappeared, he didn't disappear, and throne came there. So now through body the spirit starts functioning in his own way. The spirit starts functioning in his own way. There is a body having all materialistic and vegetal characteristics, and there is a body in Medina, body of Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who walks in sun and there is no shadow. He has a body. The flies do not sit on his body. He has a body, but without any perfume, this is giving nice fragrances. He has a body, and whatever is coming out of his body, they are also pure and fragrant. So, apparently various bodies of human beings look similar, but the basic thing is the change which occurs inside the body. And that change makes a lot of difference. The subject of awliya and Sufiya is to bring that change in the life of human beings, and that change in inner selves of our life, bodies, inner selves. That's why their subject, always their subject is either rooh or nafs or qalb. they always address them. What are the subjects? What are the realities? What are the things which Sufiya, Urafa, Awliya talk about? What are the things which they are concerned with? And what are the changes which they want to bring in our inner selves? I know that everybody is not able to receive and achieve all these changes which I have mentioned. Rather, most of the people, they are unable to understand all these stages and changes. But at least, whatever is possible, at least some change should occur in our inner life. Some change should occur. Some change should take place. And the place where the change should take place is the nafs. We may do hundreds and hundreds of pious acts apparently, and da'wah and tabligh and the pious things, and acts of charity and acts of worship, and visiting Makkah and Medina and performing Hajj, whatever we want to do. But it's the basic spiritual change does not take place in our in our nafs, qalb and rooh. Rest of the things are the outcomes. Whatever I have described, rest of the things are its results, logical results, outcomes. Rather, just the change has to take place at first stage, and that is the nafs. All of the changes automatically are accompanied compulsorily and positively. They are attached with the change of nafs. If nafs starts changing, automatically heart starts changing. Automatically rooh starts upgrading, changing, advancing. Automatically our sir and all other lataif starts upgrading. This is the nafs, the soul, that is to be changed. That's why if you read Holy Quran, the maximum address Almighty Allah has made, that is to the nafs. And he says, وَنَفْسٍ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا. He swears by nafs because everything is included in its taswiyah, in its tazkiyah. And just very precisely he has explained, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا. That's it. He became successful who purified the nafs, the soul. And وَقَدْ خَابَ مَنْ دَسَّاهَا. And he was ruined. Who corrupted his nafs, whose nafs became corrupt, he is ruined. He is nowhere. And who purified his nafs, he has got every success of his life. Because if he has become successful at the border, at the front of nafs, then his heart is successful. Then his rooh is successful. Then the living person on this earth is much higher than the living angels in the heavens. Then angels are deputed as his workers, as his guards. Angels are deputed as the guard of that man, guards, protectors. They are mudabbiratul amr. He is sleeping and they keep standing for him the whole night and praying for him. He walks and the angels walk around with him. He wishes and angels do work for him. Because this living man walking on this surface of earth, now this is no more a vegetal person, now this is no more an animalistic person, animal. Now this has become a reflection of rooh, a new manifestation of rooh. That rooh when it entered into the body, the angels were asked to prostrate. And those who prostrated knelt down, and those who bent down and showed their respect and honor for that rooh. And when I talk that the highest form of rooh and sir is al-haqiqatul Muhammadiyya, so the sir, the secret of that rooh was al-haqiqatul Muhammadiyya. That's why Urafa say that prostration, the sujood, the symbol of respect and reverence was made for the sake of the Holy Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. Because the final disclosure and the final demonstration of that khilafah was being made in the form of the raising of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. That was the finality of the whole process. That was beginning and that was finality. And finality is always much higher than the beginning. Beginning is start and finality is the end. So raising of Holy Prophet ﷺ was the end of Kamal, end of heights. So whole demonstration of reverence and honor and respect in the form of sujood was being made for the Haqiqatul Muhammadiyya. The more you purify your soul and inner self, the more you become closer to Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam haqiqah. So, any act of charity and any act of worship, spiritually, I'm not talking of rewards, I'm not talking of sawab, spiritually is of no use and no benefit unless we start a change in our nafs. Nafs is the one who makes the man arrogant. Nafs is the one who made Iblis an arrogant, who was one of the greatest worshippers of Almighty Allah. Worshipper. He became arrogant because of his nafs. Because his nafs said, Lam akun asjuda li basharin. His nafs said, Khalaqtani min narim wa khalaqtahu min teen. Started comparison with himself and myself. Nafs always takes the man towards comparison. Nafs gives the consciousness of me. Nafs is the one who gives consciousness, awareness of this is me. And you know what is Ruh's message of spirit? Nafs, message of soul is me. And message of spirit, message of Ruh is he. Message of Ruh is he. Huwa. Who. And message of nafs is me. Ana. Khalaqtani min narin wa khalaqtahu min teen. Lam akun asjuda li basharin. I am not that one who will prostrate before him. I am not that one. I am not like who will prostrate before him. How can I prostrate for him? The whole fight of nafs is against I and we. The angels also had seen the building of the same Bashariya, city of Bashariya. They had also seen the same process. Rather, they had heard through Almighty Allah, His own divine mouth, Inni khaliqum basharan. Both observed the same thing. If Iblis was observing that a city of Bashariya is being built, a Bashariya body, a vegetal body from dust is being prepared, so the same was the observation of the Malaika, of the angels. Questions arose in the minds of both. If after this observation a question came to the mind of Iblis, the same question came to the minds of angels. And they asked أَتَجْعَلُ مَنْ يُفْسِدُ فِيهَا وَيَسْفِكُ الدِّمَاءَ. So they asked, they had a question in their mind. They expressed it. They got the answer from Almighty Allah. The same question was in the mind of Iblis, but he kept inside. Why did he keep it? Because the question which come out of that observation, the question which come out as a result of that observation, of that vision which he saw, he started believing in him as a truth. He accepted it as a reality. He took it as a certainty, as a definite knowledge. He started believing in it. But the angels did not take the knowledge which they received through their observation. They did not take it as reality. It only remained a question. So they asked from their Lord. When Almighty Allah explained the reality, and you should know, Almighty Allah did not express everything to them, did not explain everything to them. Now our nafs wants explanation of everything. And tarbiyah is not an explanation of everything. Tarbiyah does not allow explanation of everything. Nafs requires explanation of everything. Sayyidina Qadri alayhi salam, throughout his journey, didn't explain about his acts. And when the time of explanation came, he was departed from him. When angels asked Almighty Allah about their question, he didn't explain everything. He explained to them certain things, and about certain things he said, Inni a'lamu ma la ta'lamun. I can't express and explain and disclose everything to you. This is how those who get advancement, they have to behave. This is how the people who get advancement, who get al-iltiqa ar-ruhi, who are upgraded, who are blessed, and who get returned towards Almighty Allah and returned towards divinity. This is their conduct and their behavior. That whatever is explained to them, expressed to them, they accept it. And whatever is not disclosed to them, whatever is kept secret, they don't become upset. They are satisfied in both conditions. Almighty Allah told certain names. Ambihum bi asma'i haula. Certain thing, the knowledge was explained to them, demonstrated for them. And about certain things, Almighty Allah said, Inni a'lamu ma la ta'lamun. And they were satisfied with this answer. Those who became satisfied, they pushed out their question, the result of their observation, their own thinking, which I spoke about, thinking. They pushed out the thinking from their minds. They became reverence in themselves. And when the time of prostration came, observations were the same, similar. Questions were similar. But Iblis became arrogant and he said, Lam akun asjuda li bashar. He refused, denied from the sujood. And from Iblis, he was converted to shaitan. Almighty Allah said, Fakhruj minha fa innaka rajim. And the angels who surrendered, this was the first surrender of nafs. Towards Iblis was the first arrogance of nafs. Quran says, Aba wastakbara wa kana min al-kafirin. Here was the first arrogance of nafs. And here, فَسَجَدَ الْمَلَائِكَةُ كُلُّهُمْ أَجْمَعُونَ. Here was the first surrender of nafs. The nafs which surrendered became al-malaika al-muqarrabun, al-mukramun. The nafs which surrendered, Almighty Allah was pleased with them and they became the blessed ones. And the nafs who believed in its own observation became arrogant. And he was cursed, he became the cursed one. So the whole fight is the fight of nafs. The nafs ammara is the arrogant nafs. And nafs mutmainnah is the nafsul muti'ah, is the nafs which surrenders. And only spiritual advancement starts when you surrender. This is a very difficult task which awliya and sufiya has taken. This is a difficult task which the sufiya have been doing in their lives. And this is the subject of all awliya and urafa and sufiya and saints. And this is the subject of Maulana Rooh, and the subject of whole of his Masnavi. So alhamdulillah, I have given you a small background to create the basic understanding of the subject of human being. وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ.
يا نبي سلام عليك يا رسول